180!
Welcome back to Online Darts, everyone. We're here for Armageddon 2025, and we've got PDPA Chairman and former player and every other hat going, Mr. Peter Manley. Peter, just been out in the fan zone. What an event this is for an exhibition.
Well, yeah, it's just put a name to it, because the name's just unbelievable. From the women's game of Fallon and Bo, and then to the men's, you got Phil and John. So it was nice. It's the first time I've seen Phil for a long time, my old buddy. He actually greeted me with a nice hello and everything, which was good. But obviously, with Luke and Luke playing like they did last night in the Premier League, if they can just emulate just a little bit of that tonight for the crowd, it's just another successful MDA and Modus production sort of thing. 2,000
people for an exhibition is madness, isn't it? Considering where the sport is, to grow something from just a little exhibition in a leisure centre to filling out here.
I know. Well, they're the sort of crowds that I used to sort of like get in my day. But yeah, it's nice to see the amounts. It's just incredible.
We're seeing at PDC you can't get a ticket, so this is a real genuine chance for fans to come and meet the players up close, personal, that they can't do anywhere else.
Yeah. It's obviously they do the meet and greet and the VIP, and that's important. And they should just give a little bit more. The players need to just sort of like acknowledge the crowd, and it's without them, they wouldn't be the players they are today.
Yeah, look, fans are everything, and the younger demographic that Luke Littler has brought into the sport is incredible. The kids that are here, with the kids we see at the Premier League or in Luke Littler shirts, it's completely changed over the last 18 months.
Well, it's, I mean, to me, 63, almost done everything in the game apart from beating Phil in the Worlds. And to see someone like Luke Littler just come through, I've got nothing but admiration for the kid. I've seen, from just a personal level of playing darts for the lifetime that I have, that I've seen a difference in his game from day one to now. It's an improvement. He's very good with speaking to people and everything, but I just hope that it carries on, and he carries on with that attitude of just realising how good he is when he wants to be. It's a bit like Gary Anderson.
Gary's an enigma, isn't he? That
he wins when he wants to.
Keeps reinventing himself,
yeah.
And when he's got that little bit of bite in there, he's a different animal to just when he's like can't be bothered almost.
Listen, going back to, I mean, these guys now earn an absolute fortune. I can remember back in the day doing an exhibition for £1,000, which was enormous back in my day, and I went to where the pub I was staying at. Gary Anderson pops in after work for a cup of coffee and a game of darts, and the governor came and got me when he was there, and I must have played 13 legs, and I don't think I ever got near him for a double. And there I was, the world #1, going out earning £1,000, and this guy had just turned. I couldn't get anywhere near him. So no wonder Gary carried on and had the career he's had.
Well, you touched on the money available. Obviously, next year, £25 million total, £1 million for the World Championship, an incredible increase in prize money for the players now.
Well, yeah, I mean, just look at 3 times I made the final, and unfortunately, I met the GOAT. But now that would be like 1.2 million. I've got 85,000. It's so different. But the thing is, it brings problems. This year, as chairman of the PDPA and with Alan Warriner and all the other directors, we launched a financial wellbeing. We got involved with this company that helped Premier League footballers with finance and the stress and everything that evolves around it. It's not about them selling something to a player. We sent them a brochure out in February. We've had it's Red Star Education, and they've been to 2 events so far, and it's fantastic that out of the 128 players, 1 so far has taken up the actual interviews with them. It's just an hour free Zoom that we're paying for, just to give them some financial stability and to show them what they should be doing with the money, looking for the future, saving, investments, not selling them anything, telling them what they've got to do, but just answering any questions like things like wills, power of attorney. They've got nothing in place, and these guys are worth an absolute fortune now. And you know, we just admire what they got, but then when you listen to a player that has earned 3 million and he's still got a mortgage, then we are concerned. We're worried. We're worried why he's still got a mortgage, because he bought another place and bigger place. If he hasn't, then he's got, you know, he's doing something wrong with his money. But to get these guys to actually have interviews, very, very hard.
Does that irritate you when you hear players slagging the PDPA off because they don't do this, they don't do that, and then when you do put stuff on for the benefit of the players, they're not invested in listening?
Well, it's very hard. I mean, obviously, I've got a real big backbone. Obviously, having a career and the type of player I was has helped me with the job, because, you know, even recently at a challenge tour, I mean, the venue was cold on one day, and the third complaint we got about the coldness, the player wouldn't go away and accept that he wanted me to do something there and then. And, you know, in the end, I'm giving answers like, would you want me to go and get my tool bag out the car and try and fix his heating? I mean, the thing is that the play had started. So even if you had heating coming on, it would be blowing warm air. So you can't have the blowing warm air while they're playing darts. So you're sort of like in a catch-22 situation. And it's a very hard thing to sort out, and you understand the players' frustration, especially if they've been on a ball, perhaps that might have had a little bit of air. But yeah, you sympathise with them. But there's 3 out of 320 people or whatever that were playing on that day is, not a bad response.
Interesting one with all this increased prize money that comes up is the first round loser money, that there are a lot of top pros and bottom end wanting something done about the financial things of the lower end players. Now, I know Matt has made it quite clear that the PDC have got no interest in this. Is there anything the PDPA can do to help this? Because it seems like the lower end is missing out.
This is obviously it's one of your, but I've heard it's one of your beefs, and it's one of a lot of players, and it comes from a lot of players that probably aren't doing too well, and realising that obviously Barry's golden ticket isn't a golden ticket as far as they're concerned. But then the PDC do as much as they can to give the prize money in the structure that they've got now, that they can't, it's never going to please everyone, regardless of what you did. Now, obviously the prize money went from 1,000 to 1,250. Everyone's saying, why didn't you give the 250 to the... But why? You haven't won a game. And, Barry's words from the beginning was, you've always got to win a game. You cannot just turn up and earn money. So the golden ticket really starts and finishes with the fact that you can now earn £1 million as a world champion, and no one stops you. You've got so many chances to qualify now for the world championship that if you don't, you've got to look at yourself and think, well, either you're going to do some more work and get into it, and there are players that we could probably pick out that we know that are looking, and one to me just immediately comes is Ross Smith. That when you look at him last week in the Players' Championships, 2 9-darters, wins the event. Was it 24 legs?
24
consecutive legs. I mean, it's fantastic. The kid wants to be in the Premier League. He wants to be, better than what he is. He wants to win more. And that's what they all should have. And if they haven't, then they don't deserve to be there.
The other one, obviously the Euro Tour changes, was an interesting one, where it seems like the elite are now protected no end. Now, the question that gets asked is, were the PDPA consulted on that change, and did you agree with the change? Because there was a lot of players unhappy, obviously members of the PDPA.
The European. Well, the thing is, it's like if that rule was brought in ahead of the other rule, then no one would have been any different. If it had been the other way round, it would have been fantastic. But because it's not, and there's a reason why they've done it, because they want the best players there. They're putting this lot of money up into European, and so many of the Europeans where players are now choosing whether they want to play or don't play, to keep the actual tournament going and the structure, you need these top players to be playing. And if they're not, then obviously it's given a, you know, Joe Public are not that silly. They're not going to sit there and go, oh, well, I didn't see Luke Humphries, I didn't see Luke Littler, I didn't see Gerwin Price. They're not going to keep buying.
Yeah, no, I get both sides of the argument.
Yeah, so it's, you know, they've got places and they've got, what, 14? There's 14 tournaments to get through and to get into Europe. When they get through, there's nothing to stop any of them players winning that event. And you know yourself, if they win that event, it's more or less guaranteed straight into the Europeans and whatever. So it's just a win-win situation, but they have to provide the quality of darts to get there.
Does the modern player moan too much then? Compared to your day?
Well, we all moan, but it's there were different moans. You know, they're totally unnecessary. A lot of them, totally unnecessary. But we deal with them all the best way we can, and you know, and we try and we put their side. But what they don't reason with is the fact that they just say, let's make it 1,000 and then 250. Yeah. That's easy done. Why? Why do you want to make that 250? Because it pays for you. So does that mean that you won't give your manager 30, 40, 50%? Because that's where the money's going. In my day, there was no managers. We didn't have a manager. I understand the fact that these guys now, when they get in the top 8, 16, life changes and it does become a little bit overwhelming. So yeah, they do need the help. But some of these guys think they've got to have a manager because his mate's got a manager. Not because they need someone. They're winning enough. I advise people, when they come to me, I would advise a young person to see how they get on. Keep whoever's interested in sponsoring you, managing you, just keep them at bay and just see how you get on. Play 5, 6 Pro Tours, and if you do well, you could be heading for Blackpool, you could be doing all sorts of things. And why give 40, 50% away?
Peter, absolute pleasure catching up with you. I know you've got to go and present the trophy in a minute.
Yes.
So thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure, Phil. Pleasure.